Let's call the meeting to order. Today is November 9th. We're here for our regular monthly meeting. We're going to stand. I'm going to ask our Water Superintendent, Mr. Glenn Davis, to lead us in prayer, please.
Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for this beautiful city, this country we live in. Simply ask you to be with us today. Guide our decisions, everything we say and do, Lord, let it be led by you. We thank you, Lord, for your blessings again in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tammy, would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Kathy,
Here.
Mr. Pollock,
Here.
Mr. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Call,
Here.
Mr. Key.
Here. Thank you. All right, before citizens' comments, a couple things we're going to add to our agenda. First, on announcement, some of you may remember, especially been here a while, Mayor Chuck Guilford, who was here. He served as mayor from 72 to 76, passed away, and his family's been part of Mexico Beach since back in the late 40s. But we offer our condolences to the family for his passing. He was known as Captain Chuck. Next, before we get into citizens' comments, several weeks ago, back on the 10th, Matt Larson had the Stronger Than the Storm event. Natalie is here today. Natalie, if you would come up, and we thank you for being here.
I'm glad to be here this morning. You all know Matt did the Stronger Than the Storm. This was the third year, and it's starting to wear thin, but we still did okay this year. And he asked me to bring this check to present to the city of Mexico Beach in the amount of $2,100.
Wow.
I need to prove to Matt that I brought the check.
You might want to go give it to the clerk.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Ready.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Natalie, thank you very much. And we will offer Matt our gratitude.
He calls himself the Korean Santa. So he's up in the North Pole now, working on something else. That's all I can tell you. Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.
Pass that just over. Tammy, please. Wow. That's a good way to start the meeting. Matt does a great job. We appreciate his energy and his effort. Okay. Citizen comments. I see the door. Come on up.
Do I need to state my name for the record?
Yes.
Okay. Kimberly Shope, 102 Canal Parkway, Mexico Beach Welcome Center. Two things. One, I am here to let everyone know that we have our calendars down. Yay! So we're very excited. Thanks to businesses. You can pick them up at the Mexico Beach Welcome Center or any of the businesses that are listed on the sidebar ad. They have them as well. And then if you need one mailed to you, just contact the Welcome Center and we'll be happy to mail on out just a small shipping and handling coverage. So we're excited to have those. The next thing is the annual Christmas Tree Lighting Festival. It's going to take place on December the 5th at the Mexico Beach Shopping Center, which is in front of Mango Marley's, where we had the tree lighting last year. This event is put on by a combination of the City of Mexico Beach, the Mexico Beach Community Development Council, and the Special Events for Mexico Beach. We've got flyers going up around town. Tracy Gaddis is leading the annual golf cart parade again. We have those forms at our Welcome Center, as well as I believe City Hall has them, and the Sheriff's Department might have them on them as well. Some new things with this year's Tree Lighting Festival. The golf cart parade is going to actually start and go throughout the community and then end at the tree lighting with Santa. So instead of going out throughout the community after the tree lighting, they're going to do that first and then end at the tree lighting with Santa. And Santa will be walking around and meeting all the children and taking photo ops. So remember to bring your cameras. The fire department will be collecting gifts to distribute to area children in need. So if you'd like to donate to that cause, they would greatly appreciate your support. The Forgotten Coast Ukulele Orchestra will be performing for us this year. We're very excited to have them. And it's just going to be a great time. It starts at 6 o'clock at the shopping center, and the city's going to get started on putting up the Christmas decorations after we celebrate Thanksgiving, one holiday at a time. And so we're just looking forward to it. And then we'll introduce the tree lighter as well. I don't know who the tree lighter is just yet. That is under lock and key right now. Actually, they just haven't picked them yet, I don't think. So, but it'll be exciting. So that's it. Oh, and the Thanksgiving Day Turkey Trot will take place on Thanksgiving Day, 8 a.m. at Under the Palms Park. So if you'd like to register, there's still time. So that's it. Unless you have any questions. No? Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, citizens' comments still up. Okay. Moving on in our agenda, we have a presentation. We're glad to see Mike here with us, the FWC officer who lives in our area and lives in our city. Mike, we're going to turn it over to you.
Yes, sir. I know everybody's excited to see Dan Woods. Human-wildlife conflict, we're discussing black bears, and I'm Lieutenant Mike Guy with Florida Fish and Wildlife. I live in Mexico Beach. Part of my patrol area that I supervise is Mexico Beach and the entire county of Gulf County. We share some responsibilities with some of the lieutenants in Bay County, but because of the proximity of Mexico Beach being so close to my area, we typically cover enforcement issues that arise over here. It's been noticed there's been an uptick in bear activity in the last couple of weeks, especially. We've noticed in some of the forums that we've seen bears, our neighbors' trash got into whatnot, and there's a little bit of venting going on, but I'm hoping I can clear up some of the enforcement side of what happens when trash gets into. You could spend 3 meetings talking about bears and why they do what they do and where they're doing it. I'm in the Division of Law Enforcement. We have a Habitat and Species Division that gets really into the trenches about why they do it and where they do it, and can really tell you all the history on them for Florida. But my division is responsible for people, the public safety side of it. You know, what do we do to be safe around them when we encounter one, and what do we do to prevent them from becoming a nuisance? Trash, bears are lazy. They can pack on up to 20,000 calories a day. So if they can prevent walking around all day picking up acorns, they're going to go to a trash can and get all 20,000 calories in 10 minutes. They primarily move around at night, which is when you'll notice them. You come out in the morning, your trash can is tore all to pieces, or your neighbors is tore all to pieces. We have a very strict protocol on it. And I know for visitors it can be very exciting to see a bear. Not so much for the residents because it's a daily thing. But what we ask when you and we're working closely with the city now to get some options for residents as far as bear resistant containers. We do provide at times when funding is available and grants are completed for retro kits. So I know Mexico Beach is not like Gulf County or certain parts of Bay County where you have your trash services outsourced to, such as Waste Pro, BCC, Waste Management. A lot of those companies we have had long-lasting relationships with as far as bear-resistant containers, and some of them charge a fee for providing you a bear-resistant container. And they typically want the trash can, and they run at daylight, so they want the trash can out there and unlocked before trash runs, and that's really an inconvenience to a lot of people, you know, especially when they're trying to scramble out there in their pajamas to drag a trash can out there that they had in the garage to keep it from getting, you know, torn up by bears. So we're working with the city on some options for that, and there's some literature that's being provided to the city that members, residents or visitors can come pick up at City Hall, that will give you kind of an educative approach to what you do when you encounter one. But what we ask, if you encounter a bear, we ask that you scare it. We do, all law enforcement members and most sheriff's office deputies, and they have internal policies that will allow or disallow them to do certain things, but the FWC members, we will haze them if they are in a good location and they're getting into trash or causing a nuisance in a certain part, and that means hitting them with rubber bean bags and shotguns that are modified for less lethal, that won't cause harm to them but scares them basically. Residents and visitors are allowed to haze them up to a certain point, such as paintball guns, less lethal stuff, banging pots and pans, because what we're going to do when we show up to a nuisance bear is we're going to yell at it to get its attention, and then it's going to get shot with a beanbag. So if you're doing the same thing, yelling at it, typically if we've encountered that same bear, it knows something unpleasant is coming, so we're asking you to do the same thing as a resident or a visitor. So the idea and key number one is to secure your trash. I know everyone does not want to put their trash can in their garage and having it smell their garage up for, until trash service runs, but the bears are not going away, and we've got to adapt and live with them. The city rules, I know some of that is changing, and there's some, and I hadn't really dug in to see what that is, but caddies, we typically encourage caddies where the local government or the city allows them, and that's the caddies are the secured bin at the street. And I know the city ordinances have just changed, so we're going to discuss that with the city. The retro kits and the bear resistant cans are the first step. Putting your trash in your garage or putting your trash in a secure location where bears cannot get to it is the number one thing that will prevent them from being a nuisance. Once you move a black bear in to your driveway or your neighbor's driveway, and they begin to get into your trash, it is almost impossible to get them to move. Years ago, we used to relocate them, our Division of Habitat and Species, but that practice was ruled out as effective many years ago because bears have an internal GPS like you have never seen. You can move one halfway across the panhandle and they will find their way right back to where they started. It's just a matter of time. So relocating and removing them has become an option that is the last resort. Securing trash, I know is not an easy task when you have rentals and you have apartment complex managers and Airbnbs, where you have a tenant come in and rent a place over the weekend and they do not realize they're in a high conflict area for bears, and then their trash is out there by the street torn all to pieces, and then the neighbor who is a permanent resident or a recurring renter knows, and then all of a sudden they're getting into this one and into this one, and then they're getting in someone's porch. So if you have pets that you feed on your back porch, relocate where you're feeding them. Feed them inside. If you have bird feeders, be conscious that that is a food source for bears. Bird seed, they are vegetarians. They get into seed. They really like fruits and seeds, and that type of food source is their number one food source. And they will move to yours. They will move to your neighbors. So if you can secure yours and make them understand that they're not going to get an easy meal at your house, they're going to continue moving and eventually out of our area or out of your neighborhood. But it's going to take everyone doing the same thing to make that successful. And like I said earlier, the activity that you're seeing right now is bears packing on calories before what would stereotypically be their hibernation period. Florida black bears do not hibernate. They may go lethargic for a few months where their body is doing the same thing as their northern counterparts, where they're not consuming calories or using the bathroom or doing anything for a period of up to a month or two. So right now is the time that they're packing on calories, and then you will see them go dormant and the complaints will subside, and then you will see it pick back up in spring. They typically have their breeding season is midsummer, June, July. They have a 7-month gestation period, so they're having cubs in January and February. So your springtime activity leading up to their breeding season in June is going to be your most dangerous time to encounter one. And I don't want to say dangerous because bears are really reclusive and they can be scared easily like deer. But when they have cubs, they're like any mama. They're going to protect those cubs, and especially if you're walking pets or animals on leashes and you happen to encounter one, that's when you need to be extremely vigilant with them. But back to your trash, you can move them out of the area just by securing your trash. Put it in your garage. That's what I do. I'm a city resident. Put it in your garage, and then on trash day, move it out there and let the trash guys get it and move it back into your garage. I haven't seen a lot of in-house FWC biologists really promoting this, but I've seen it work and it's extremely effective. Ammonia, a couple of teaspoons of ammonia in your trash bags, or even putting it in a sprayer and spraying it around the lid. I watched when I first moved to Mexico Beach, the landlord that I was renting from at the time did this with their trash can, and it was the only trash can that did not get torn up or did not get into the entire time I was there. There was garbage cans strewed all down the street at times, and then that trash can was the only one that they did not get. So that would be something I would try if I started having problems with one. Here's what happens whenever your neighbor calls in and your trash has been torn down the street, and how important it is to the commission and our protocol. The first step that happens whenever a bear gets into your trash, and we understand most everyone does not know bear rules, bear habits, and so we try to approach it with an educative approach. We will come out, and the first thing we do as law enforcement is determine, was it a bear? Did a bear get into your trash? If we do determine, and it's relatively easy to determine if it was a bear versus a dog, then we issue a notice of noncompliance. A notice of noncompliance is simply a piece of paper. It's a non-law enforcement action. It does not go on a criminal history or anything like that. It's simply stating that you've been educated before we leave on what to do in the event that a bear got into your trash or got into your porch and your pet's feed or bird feed or whatnot. That puts you on notice. The second step, if we come out, is a non-criminal infraction. It's a $100 fine if a bear gets into your feed, and it's intentional or unintentional feeding. So garbage is the number one key. That is an unintentional feeding of bears. I don't know many people in the city atmosphere that would be intentionally feeding bears unless they were a visitor and just did not know that it was a conflict area. I have yet to see that, is the reason I'm saying what I'm saying. Unintentional feeding is typically what we always see. So we will issue a non-criminal infraction, and then each time that we come and determine that a bear has gotten into your trash because you are not following those procedures, it will go to a second-degree misdemeanor, which is up to 365 days in jail, and then it goes to a first-degree misdemeanor and then felony level. So it goes up. That's why I'm in here today. I do not know of but one person that we have had to do that with, and it was simply because they would not follow the rules, and they had a problem. Typically, your problems, more so than single-family residences, are apartment complex where you have shared trash containers where a dumpster is out there. Someone comes out, throws it in, locks the dumpster, and then the next tenant comes out, unlocks it, throws theirs in, and leaves it unlocked. I went through a week ago at night when we were having an issue with a bear right here close by, and the dumpster at the city boat ramp was the only one locked that I saw anywhere, and I was shocked that it was locked. So props to whoever in the city was doing that, but it was locked, and it was typically being a target. You know, that area was the target for that bear activity. I'm not sure who locked it, but please keep that up. The Airbnb owners, we will hold them liable. We will hold apartment complex managers liable if they are not making their tenants aware that they are in a conflict area. So example being, I'm from Tennessee, I'm going to rent an Airbnb in Mexico Beach. I come down, I'm leaving on Wednesday, trash pickup is on Friday. So my garbage is going to be out there at the street for 2 days, unattended, unsecured. A bear comes in, destroys the garbage can. We contact the Airbnb owner. They tell us that a tenant was there. It was the tenant's trash, but that tenant never did get any notification or never did get any literature that they're in a bear conflict zone. They don't have bears where they live. at home. So we are asking you, if you are a renter, or if you are a renter or an Airbnb owner or an apartment complex manager or a condo type situation where you're sharing it, please make your tenants aware that they are in a conflict zone, because we will be coming to see you if that occurs. It starts out with the tenant single family homes, and then it moves to management if there is, if it's in a rental type capacity. But it takes everyone kind of collaborating together, and like I say, we're going to be leaving a lot of information with the city that will help you understand more so on what to do if you encounter one, what to do with your trash, and options for getting those bear resistant containers, if that is a choice that you would like to know. There's nothing preventing you from purchasing those. I think you can get them through, this is not a paid promotion, through Ace Hardware. You can get them through Lowe's or Home Depot or anywhere like that. I believe that those can be purchased or ordered through any of those places, and I would encourage that. I will make it the city, and I'm sure the city will push something out, but I'll make it something that we push out if the retro kits become available. We'll work with the city on as far as a grant, because those are typically done county-wide, but we can work with, I believe, city jurisdictions to get them just for residents of that city. And those retro kits, what I'm referring to is a kit from FWC with instructions and hardware for retrofitting your trash can that you currently have. There's a locking mechanism that if you are a DIYer or have a kid or a brother or sister or somebody who's handy with a screwdriver and a pair of pliers, then you could, retrofit your own garbage can, and you would be in compliance with securing your trash can. There's nothing saying that a bear's not going to tear the lid off of it and the kit still be locked, but that will put you in compliance of doing your part to make sure that you are securing your trash. But just in summary, secure your trash, pet food, bird seed, anything you have that could become an attractant and cause a bear to become a nuisance would be extremely helpful. And I'll be glad to answer you. I know this is hours and hours work packed into a 10-minute conversation, but I'll be glad to answer any questions y'all have.
Any questions? Anybody that has a specific question for Mike Baldwin? He's standing here with us.
Does that automatic sprinkler thing, that sprinkler scarecrow, does that
It
work
would-
some?
Yes, so the question is, does an automatic sprinkler work? An automatic sprinkler is a sprinkler that you can connect to a water source, and upon motion, it will go off and start spraying water, which typically will scare bears. Yes, they do work. And there is some literature that's going to be passed out as soon as the city receives it from our Habitat Species Division that will show you how that works. It will also show you how to prepare unwelcome mats, which are basically floor mats with spikes sticking out of them that they don't want to go around your garbage can. They'll stick their foot on it once, and then they won't visit your garbage can again if they have to go across it to get to it. There's going to be numerous options like that and ideas that have been successful throughout the state that you may want to try. Depending on your setup at your home, some of those may be really effective.
I got that one big guy, and he keeps going over my 2 trees, 5-foot evergreens. I don't know if he likes his butt being scratched or whatever, but he just plows right over them.
Yes, and they are very lazy. They will do whatever it takes to get to an easy meal. And I'll be glad if you see me about. I'll be glad to leave a number with the city if you want to contact me directly, and I can come by and take a look at it and give you some suggestions on what I think would work based on your situation. I'll be more than happy to do that.
I'm going to get one of the water tanks and see how that does it.
Those are effective.
Lieutenant Guy, thank you. I do know we're going to work on a pamphlet, like you said, to go out in the utility bills as soon as we receive them. So we'll continue to monitor it. It's on the city's website. Julie put it up this week. And thank you very much.
Mike, thank you very much for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move to the department reports. Debbie on the line?
I am.
All right. You have bears in Kentucky?
Yes, and but I also have, goats.
I got you. Okay, I'm just checking.
I don't have a problem with what you guys do, so that's one thing. But as far as department report goes, the last thing I CPG account, I was going to track down, did a resolution for it. It is resolved for the most part. I was just waiting on confirmation from the state for, the funds will be returned back to the state. The recipient that we, the insurance proceeds from never, rebuilt or repaired the home, so they go back to the state. Once they get confirmation, they'll work with, Doug, we'll get that money cleared out of the account. Still working on all the FEMA reconciliation that is a given every time we have a project start or close, I have to reconcile it. So that's going to be ongoing. And then I'll change the bank reconciliation a little bit. From the revision is working and old since I'm in March now, and then the first old avenues that can provide you guys a
Hey Debbie, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We have a bad connection or something. You're breaking up pretty bad at times.
It says new phone. I got a different phone from the last time. So I apologize. So, is it so bad?
Well, I think those at the table can make it out. Go ahead.
Oh.
Just letting you know.
I'll be quick. I was just gonna I'm working to the old and the new for the bank reconciliation, so I can kind of provide you with where we are today and let you know how I'm catching up with the backlog. And then I'm just working with Doug. I'm trying to modernize. I can't talk. Electronic approvals for requisitions and purchase orders. So that's what I've been doing.
All right. Thank you very much. Anybody have anything on that? All right. Will we have a written report next month?
Yeah. So the policy is on the bank reconciliation that it's 15 days past the end of the month. So in the November meeting, you'll have the October's information.
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right. Bye. That just cuts off.
No, she probably
She
said
got it.
it.
Okay.
Not, she always hangs up on
Okay. Moving on. Fire department.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Now that we're in November, excuse me, Fire Prevention Month is in theory over. We have been to numerous different houses and done numerous smoke detector checks. We will do that at any time of the year. We just push forward in October because it is Fire Prevention Month. We will likewise again with the key boxes. We have put in, I think, 12 of those this year, adding that to the 9 of last year. So we're on 21 in the city, which is great. A lot of which are with older people living on their own, and so on and so forth. So that's something again we will do year out, but we push again in October to make those aware, but who may not be aware of it in the past. We're working together with Water Department to do some confined space training now, so that they can go into lift stations and so on and so forth safely using some of the equipment they have, some of the equipment we have, and some equipment that we still have to get between us. That's going to happen hopefully either the end of this month or early next month. We're writing up all the classes and so on and so forth. But that's going to be a combined Water Department and Fire Department training scenario. We're also renewing our CPR certs for all the fire department. I was talking with Doug this morning about anybody else within the city that wanted to get it, employees wise, and then we'll put up some of the older AEDs that I have talked about before and I have not put up yet. It's not the first time I have said that we will put them up. I haven't done it yet, but we will now, and get those up in places like here and across in City Hall. So and if any of the council members want to indulge in that, they're more than welcome to as well. Other than that, we're just doing our usual hydrant ranges this time of the year. We're out and about. The guys are out today putting off all the caps on ones that need to be repainted and so on and so forth. We're going to get on with that. And it's, otherwise it's training on a daily basis that they do and answering the calls as they come in. Does anybody have any questions?
Question for Sandy, Fire Department. Sandy, thank you. Appreciate the report. Lieutenant Williams.
Yes, sir. All right, my Sergeant has graciously provided me with a monthly activity list in
I thought,
October.
this didn't look like something you would.
Did for 2 months. He's got this year, same time last year, and year to date. So we have that. But in the month of October, had 144 calls for service, 7,640 miles patrol, traffic stops 33. Out of those, 3 citations and 25 warnings, 3 arrests and 2 traffic crashes in the Mexico Beach area. But that's on that, and I also wanted to let you know that Sheriff's Office is going to be doing a movie night on December 17th at the Under the Palms Park. They're going to be playing the movie Elf. Going to be providing popcorn, drinks, and candy for whoever shows up on the screen. So anybody wanting to show up, bring your own chair, blanket, or whatever you want to sit on to come down, and we'll have parking there and people provided to take care of everybody if they need.
Great, December 17th.
It's the Friday, I think it's the last day of school for the kids.
Well, school's out.
Yeah, last day of school for that, and be about, I think it's 6 o'clock is when it's going to start with the time change and everything's going to bring it right in about dark 30. But we've got a big blow-up screen and everything, and speakers and stuff, and we've done them before over in Callaway and up in the northern part of the county and Southport area and stuff, and it went over real good.
We'll have some more information to send out on the website and stuff
Okay.
to advertise that. We're hoping for a great turnout. We're appreciating the sheriff's
I'll
office.
share with you a comment from a visitor. She didn't know who I was. She was in the store. She'd been stopped, traffic violation, and got a warning, and was telling me that, didn't know who I was, how nice the officer was, and how grateful she was that she didn't get a ticket. and I said, well, that's good. What were you doing? She said, and I said, well, that's pretty fast in a 35. I said, you got a break. She said, he was the nicest guy. She didn't know his name. She was ecstatic. She said, and I want to say it because I know that 50 is certainly a push, but
It's in
someone,
the range.
whoever, made a great friend that day, and an ambassador for our town.
And the numbers on that will show on that, out of 33 traffic stops.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I never told her who I was, and I didn't tell her. I just said, "Well, we have a nice policeman." Thank you for the report.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome to
Some good people over there.
Gina, come on up.
Good morning.
That's right. See you.
We've had 5 new residences since the last meeting, no commercial. I did meet with the engineer last week on 2 kind of pre-application meetings for a townhouse condo thing, and a restaurant. So that's something to maybe.
Awesome.
All of you know I'm a short timer, so I'll be getting out of here the end of next week. But we got Bo here today, and he's brought James Melvin with him. James is going to be helping out, and I'll be around in the background to assist James in anything he needs.
She ain't completely left.
Well, I can't let you stand there and not tell you what you meant to us. And I know it hasn't been an easy job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It hasn't always been easy dealing with me or us. But thank you for what you've done.
Thank you very much.
Well, we had his checkbook out this morning trying to keep it too.
All right, Bo, are you just back rolling it to?
Well, basically, I'm going to, of course, I'm always going to be in the background helping whatever I got to do, and I'll be here when I need to be. James Melvin will be here at your meetings, and he'll be giving you reports and that kind of thing. We are in the process of searching for somebody that's going to be permanent, that's going to be kind of as good as Gina. I mean, the law says how I'm going to do that, but we'll figure it out. But we have, as you know, Al, and most of you know, we have 7, 8 building officials. We've got all kind of personnel that have all kind of experience. So you're never going to be left without. But we're going to keep Gina on just a long leash,
No,
just in
that's
case, you know. And because what she's meant to you, she's meant 100 times to me. I mean, it solves some serious problems like Hurricane Michael. But like I said, we got you back. You don't have to worry about it. We'll be here.
All right. James? Yes, sir. Welcome aboard. Okay. You better you better ride tight in the saddle. No, welcome to it. EPCI has been a good partner to us.
James did a lot of your evaluations and work right after the storm, him and his crew, so he's pretty familiar with Mexico Beach already.
Good. All right. Doug, you have
Nothing to get into details on code enforcement, but we are moving forward to try to get some of the islands that are busted up along 98 to get those torn down and removed. We've already had some letters have gone out for warning, and some contractors are already starting to remove that debris. Some of the, like the chimneys have been staying in there. They're trying to get some of the blights cleaned up, and the residents are complying with that. So Kathy's continuing to patrol and moving forward on some other individual things that we're working on, but she's staying busy, yes, sir.
I'm sure. Questions? Okay. Tommy?
Morning, Cal. A little update on Public Works. This past week, Mountain Burst was down here from FDOT to look at our shoulders on the road, about getting those cut down. Also, I had asked him to take a look at from basically where Toucans used to be, back this way on the beach side of the road, all the washouts that are down through there. So I think he's come up with a pretty good plan. The sand that we shave off the side of the road down there, they're going to take it and kind of fill that in on the beach side, get rid of all those washouts. So they're going to be starting that pretty quick. He told me they'd get on that pretty shortly. Also, this past week we finished restriping pickleball courts over here, the tennis court, the basketball court for the pickleball players. We did that way before Michael, and they lasted a pretty good while, so we restriped that so they got a little better playing field over there. Got a lot of stormwater projects we're working on throughout the city now. That will continue on for a long time. Wanted to give a shout out to Troy and Nick. The canal sanded over after we had the winter storm week before last. Those guys went down there in about 2 days and got that opened back up. And I want to say they always do a fantastic job, and they lay with it until they get it back open. We all know the importance of the canal for the city of Mexico Beach. I also want to give a shout out to Ricky Farmer. Ricky come in the weekend before last when we had all the dead fish on the beach, and he cleaned those fish off the beach basically in one weekend. Pretty much the red tide's over with now. The cool weather's moved that out, so that we're not having any fish on the beach, so we got all that cleaned up. So just wanted to say Ricky did an excellent job in coming in for us and doing that. We had a valve box that was damaged on 13th Street for the water department during Hurricane Michael. Me and Nick went out yesterday and repaired that for them. That was a safety hazard. Somebody could have walked by and fell in it. It's about a 4-foot hole there with a 4x4 valve cover box lid missing. So that's been took care of. Wanted to also say on the sanitation report, we picked up 174,880 pounds of trash this past month in October. And I want to let everybody know this is a holiday week. We have Veterans Day off, which is Thursday. So the sanitation department will not run their route on Thursday, but we will be picking Thursday's trash up tomorrow. So if you're normally on the route for Thursday, it will be picked up on Wednesday. I know that may be a little confusing, and then they'll pick Friday's route back up on Friday when we're back. So we're just going to move Thursday's route to tomorrow so that we've got the 2-day pickup for the whole week. Other than that, we're just doing our normal grass cut, kind of slowed down a little bit with the cool weather, and the guys are enjoying that. We get some other things done. So, any questions for Public Works?
Thanks, Tom. Keep up a good job. Okay. Glenn, you got any report for us today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I tell you, Gary Garland passed his class 3 distribution license. Elaine Larry will sit this month for his. We believe he'll pass it also. Working on meeting the deadlines, the consent order for backflow prevention. Got the letter sent out. I'll actually probably do some follow-up work next week. Maybe touch base with those that haven't responded yet. Sandy said he's lined it up with Bay County area to do some confined space training. Everything going well, you got a good group. The guys we work with are really good to work with, and I appreciate that. Wonder if you have any questions for me.
If I could add one thing too,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor. Glenn has accepted the position as Utilities Director effective last week, and we're honored to have him, and we're appreciative with all his experience that he brings to us and certification levels, and a lot of the things that we've farmed out in the past, he has the ability to know how to do, to train our staff to do it. So increased cost savings with some of the things that he's been there, done that. It's going to be a huge help for us, so I'm grateful to have him on board, and just want to say thank you.
Yes, sir. And he's a good man.
Yeah.
Can we get him to say the location every time?
Yes.
Did a good job.
Yes, sir. I like it. All the right words.
One question on water, Glenn or Doug. I saw in some reports where we're going to remove that line going over the Parker Bridge.
Yes, sir.
When is that? Is that scheduled or is it just down the road?
We've been working, Dewberry has been discussions with North Florida as well as St. Joe Company about putting that underneath the road, and they're going through our utilization reports to decide how big the line has to be. Hopefully that's done by the end of the year, I think, David, somewhere around that first of the year.
They've indicated that within the next 2 or 3 months that they're going to be looking at doing the work.
Okay.
I've got one more question, Glenn. I live down at the end of town. My chlorine is always high. They say, the guys have told me that it's because it's at the end, but it's real strong smelling.
If you're at the end of the distribution, that's an anomaly, because normally the farther you get into distribution, the less chlorine residual you have. I'll be happy if you give me an address to go out and go check on it, kind of keep checking on it.
Okay. Yeah, they used to come check it often.
We do a lot of checking. What's your address?
306 Georgia.
We're going to check on that, kind of get a feel for it. And again, you got to understand that some people are more sensitive to it than others. We try to maintain around one in distribution. You're being at other end. I mean, we did a lot of flushing last week because we're talking about a distillation byproduct sample. You got to flush, so you've got a representative sample. The guys do a great job flushing, which will keep your chlorine residual up too, but we'll take a look at it.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, David.
Sir. Morning. Just wanted to remind the FEMA funded storm repair bid opening is tomorrow afternoon. I think there's 2 firms that have solicited plans, so we'll at least get 2 bids on them.
Could you refresh at least my memory? What are we opening?
The FEMA's funded some stormwater repairs throughout the city.
Okay.
Mainly.
All those pictures we took?
Yeah, mainly ditch clean out, some pipe repairs.
Okay.
And then Sunset Park, I know I came in here last meeting and told you the DEP
bragging now.
DEP told me we would have it by the 8th. They called me yesterday. Apparently they were unaware or did not pay attention to the amount of fill that has to go on site. So there's a protocol that they have. Basically, it's not difficult, but it is going to be at a little bit of time. I have to take them some sand samples of what's on site and what is being proposed to bring on site, so they can kind of analyze it, make sure it matches. And hope I'm going to run out there tomorrow and hand deliver it myself in Tallahassee. Hope we keep this process moving, stay on.
What does that do to our contract?
He's aware of it. He was scheduled to start, and he's still moving forward with shop drawings, working with DAG, kind of get material and stuff for it.
He needs how much time to mobilize for that?
Yeah, he was preparing to mobilize this week, but we still got some silk fence and stuff to get set up on site. So I don't know how long it's going to take them to analyze this soil. They go to a third party, geotechnical engineer to look at it, but I will stay on them to get that as fast as possible.
Kudos to Dewberry. They're managing a lot of projects around the city right now and helping us with many things. Getting North Florida, those folks, the contractors on task to give us an update what they're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, and they do a great job for us.
I understand. My frustrated look is at the Dewberry, the process is just.
I was trying to change the topic. Sorry.
I understand. Okay, is that all, Dave? Any questions?
I have a question. It's not Dewberry related, but since you brought up Sunset Park, are y'all going to relocate that public restroom during construction?
The portalet?
Yes.
Don't you like it?
I do, but I'm wondering. Looks like it's going to be in the way.
I think they were going to move it down by the Welcome Center.
Sweet. I will take it. I will take it.
Yeah, do that?
Yeah, I'll take it. Or it could go to Under the Palms Park, just a suggestion.
We'll take two.
If you want to.
We'll need them there for the upcoming events too, so we'll take care of that.
You have anything else? Okay. Thank you, Dave. Thanks. Ryan?
Hey, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. A lot of things moving on our side. Biggest thing, I was just here two weeks ago, and since that time we've gotten $1.7 million in reimbursement payments for the city, which is awesome. They lumped a couple of things together, but that was a big win, I'm sure, for your bank account. That has been the result of lots of reimbursement packages that I've been submitting over the last couple weeks, so that was good. Also have submitted some more reimbursement packages around $275K over the last 2 weeks, so hopefully some future meeting I'll be telling you about this coming through as well. In terms of some of the more substantive stuff, we did get the dredge machine bid out now, so it's out there for bid, and was advertised in PCNH, and that'll be opening on December 5th, so we're at the beginning of next month. Another thing, just to give you an update on, was if you remember, we submitted our big stormwater project for a couple of different funding sources. The HMGP one that we submitted a while back, they started asking us environmental questions, which, just to give you a little insight, I see that as a good sign. Normally that means that they are tentatively okay with the scope that we submitted, and now they're going through sort of the environmental review process to make sure that we've got all our boxes checked, or will have them all checked through the process. So that's, to me, a good sign. I don't want to, I'll knock on some wood here, but because I don't want to say we're definitely going to get it, but it makes me feel good that they're moving into that next stage, that scope seems to be okay with them. In terms of the actual dredging, phase 2, I think everyone knows last time I was trying to harp on getting any hold harmless forms in. That closed yesterday, so now we're trying to get all those tabulated. David and his group got the initial survey of the canal done, so we're moving, lots of moving pieces on that as we try to get everything ready for the beginning of December to get that work going. And then lastly, as always, not great news, but not bad yet, but we haven't heard anything back on the municipal complex. So still waiting on that, and we'll keep harping on FEMA to try to get some sort of response back from them, but we haven't heard anything. And I took the pier and the jetties, I took them off the list here because now they're in design mode. So I'll give you guys an update once we start kind of getting the finalized design, but for the next probably couple of weeks I won't give you guys any updates on those because they're just being designed. And we're up to $78 million on payouts, thanks in large part to that $1.7 million payout from last time, or for the last 2 weeks. So that's all I got.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. You said December 5th is a bid opening. That's a Sunday. That's the wrong day?
It might be the wrong. I'm sorry if I wrote. Maybe I hit 5 instead of 6, but it's right around there.
Okay.
Are we talking to FEMA anymore?
about.
Anything? Are we having our Wednesday call?
We didn't have our last one. They
No,
canceled it.
they canceled.
So I think they're
going
going
to do them tomorrow. Are we scheduled for tomorrow?
now we'll be scheduled for. They would have been last week, so we'll be scheduled for next week. So I'll make sure they don't cancel that one. I know that they
Yeah,
feel
I
like.
I don't want us to lose. I don't want us to go to sleep on it.
Yeah, understood for sure. I don't either. I mean,
I know you don't, but I'm saying
They're still in touch with emails, but on that topic, they keep kicking the can on this, so we're after it.
What seems to be their holdup on this complex?
They're saying, so when, I think I've mentioned this before, so that has to go to like their, what they call the CRC, which is like their engineering review team, and they're saying that their engineering review team has just got slammed, but they have a bunch of other things that they're working on, and they're, again, they're not saying no or yes at this point, unfortunately. I'm almost wish they would just say no or yes one way or another so we could move on, but they're just saying they're slammed, and that's why it's taking so long.
And Nick, where do we stand on the 25 acres since we're speaking about the municipal complex with closing?
Yeah, I had previously said the plan was to close November 1st. That didn't happen. There were some discussions about the property taxes being due this month and trying to coordinate the timing on that. I've given instruction to my closing department, just get it closed as soon as possible though, because the property tax issue on that property is like $200,000, so it's not a big deal. But that should close very soon. We just need a deed from St. Joe and a couple documents on it.
I spoke with Bridget yesterday from St. Joe Company, and she said that her team would be moving that forward. They had budget and end of year stuff going on, so they got slowed down, but she said she'd get that to you.
Was it 25 acres or the?
She was discussing both of them. Her team would get back on to 80 and the 25 acres to get that finalized.
And I'll say I'll get on the horn with our FEMA rep today and call them and say, listen, everyone, we were at council meeting today and everyone's asking about it. It's been so long, and see if we can keep needling.
well, if it's good news, I don't want to push it.
Yeah, well, I hear that. And
But-
I think it's my guess is it's going to be better news than what we had before, but I don't think that they're going to necessarily give us everything that we asked
Probably
for.
not.
So
If you recall, they gave us a deadline.
Yep. I know they're coming.
I know you do, because you
We worked hard to get it.
sort of
to be-
slid down in the
Yeah.
chair, and we all were just said, I mean, they gave us a drop dead date.
How many months ago?
I don't even know.
It's about 2.5. I think.
At least that. And then they don't respond. And we jump through every hoop known to man to answer every question they ask us.
Yeah.
And then we hear zero.
If I get a hold harmless form trickle in for the direction the next day or so, it's just past the date they're set their schedule. So
We
it's
set
still
that date hard. We got a very tight deadline on all that, so.
Just want to be clear on that.
Post time. Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, I want to talk about that comment.
Yeah.
So, hold harmless agreement that trickles in after the date, and they haven't done anything yet we can't accept them?
Yeah, because part of what we have to do on our side is get up with Crowder Golf and tell them, hey, here's the ones where we do have hold harmless forms, here's the ones where we don't, so that they can set up their I don't know if you call it a process or whatever it is, and we've got to have some time to get that all mapped out and figured out. So I am an advocate of we need to be strict on that deadline.
Has that happened?
It passed yesterday. We mailed out all the forms. We had a lot of calls. A lot of people spoke to Jim Fry directly with some specific questions. We had a great turnout so far. I mean, Julie, there was.
I understand the deadline. I'm just
We'll take them in stride.
Okay. Anything for Ryan? For Atkins? Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate it. All right, moving on to our regular agenda, the consent agenda. We're going to remove the two resolutions, and we will deal with them under our regular, take them out of consent and put them into the regular agenda. So the only thing on the consent agenda is, and for clarification, those are first-time task orders that have never been discussed. I think it's appropriate to let the council hear what it is we're tasking someone to do instead of just sending them through. So, is there a motion to read? Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda, which includes just the meetings, A and B?
Make a motion we accept the consent agenda, including A and B.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any opposition? Okay, let the record reflect that passes 5-0.
By accepting and approved, right? The items are approved?
A and B?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the minutes.
Right.
Okay, and then we will handle we'll just go ahead and handle Resolution 2157. And Doug, if you would, or somebody, I know we can read it, but, or have read it, what are we asking Dewberry here for?
They're going to bid out the design for the 15th Street Bridge. David is also here if you have any questions for him.
Which 15th Street Bridge?
The one where the guardrails were damaged, excuse me, not the culvert that we've already completed.
The one on the curb?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's got damage from the hurricane that's paid for. We're going through the process to get that done. It was too much to change order into that other one, so we needed to bid it out to be appropriate.
Okay, task order for the 15th Street repair, which is, it says here, construction FEMA, so that's FEMA approved project?
FEMA offers funding for repair items.
They offered funding, how much?
Yeah, they did. I think it's like 150, but I'm not sure. We haven't bid it, so I don't want to say too much.
And this will be covered in inclusive of the money that FEMA's given us. There's wetland permits because it's over the waterway. There's a lot of things that really just need to be looked after, and that's what Dewberry's going to do for us.
Okay, so the repairs and I'm trying to understand is the professional services, is it part of the FEMA, like other projects have been?
Yeah.
It's usually included. And they've already offered us, we just need to make sure we got enough that what they offer is going to cover?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Once we bid it out, yes, sir.
Yeah, once we bid it out, right. All right, other questions? Yes,
I have a
Jen?
question.
Yeah.
So Doug just said that there's wetland permits that need to be looked at. I was looking at this task order. It excludes wetland delineation and permitting, and also environmental assessments.
That's right.
All right, let me see here, where are you? On page 2?
Yes, sir.
Well, who's going to do that?
Dina's group.
Yeah, is this one? I was gonna say this one. We're gonna do the permits, and I think Dave's still gonna do compliance on the permits. Is basically how we're gonna work it. I think this was partly because we had a connection or something. What was it? I can't remember.
Dina reached out to him directly related to some permits for him, but we needed to make sure somebody was watching it, and that's what Dewberry would do for us.
Yeah. Is that's covered in your oversight?
Right.
Yeah.
Say that again, Doug. Dina did what?
Dina, ACDC had a connection related to the permits and the level of permits that we needed for this project, and she was securing those, correct?
Yeah, I think we're waiting to make sure that we're going forward with it. But yeah, I mean, the idea is that she's done those permits before, and so I think it just makes sense to have her do them again.
And then David would do the.
And David will once we get the permits in hand, then David will say, "Oh, I know what we need to do to stay in compliance with the permits." He'll have oversight over it.
Okay. It's important that we check those boxes.
Yes, sir.
For FEMA.
That was Dina's recommendation.
Okay. So ACDC / Atkins has that covered.
We're going to do the actual permits, yep.
All right, other questions? Or any comments? Chair will entertain a motion.
Make a motion to read resolution 21-57 by title only.
Second?
Have a motion and a second. Please read.
Resolution 21-57, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a task order with Dewberry Engineers Incorporated for professional services to repair damage to the 15th Street Bridge in the amount of $17,500.
Have a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt resolution 21-57.
Second?
Questions? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Key.
Yes.
I think it's important for the record that the permitting that is required is being handled by AC. It's not in this contract, but I think it's important that the record show that is being handled by ACDC. Or Athens, whoever, I don't know the right. All right, moving on, resolution 2158. Doug, again, please.
So this is under Palms Park. I believe I might need David to give a little more direction on what they're going to do for design. Should you have any questions, he can answer that, as well as kind of Atkins, the funding that we received from FEMA. And the way that this project is set up, that we're looking to do a little bit more than what, to bring back to you guys for review, but to do a little bit more than what FEMA has allocated for us because of some of the stuff that's not been upkept there in that area. So, David, do you need to explain the Dewberry task order?
Yeah, this is another FEMA award. Basically, what the request of the city, we're gonna go back in, redo the parking lot, rebuild the 2 restrooms that were there, repave the entire walking trail, and we're gonna go in with. Doug had indicated want to do some type of irrigation and planting in the future, so we'll go and put conduit underneath the walking trail, so if and when that goes in, we don't have to carry anything up as far as getting the pipes in the ground. Pretty simple repair job.
It's design in coordination with the exercise equipment and stuff that'll be going around that we have an additional grant for.
Yeah, the FERDAP money that the city received for the exercise equipment, we'll prepare the pads, once the city figures out what they want to purchase, we'll place it and kind of locate everything.
Okay.
Should provide enough much needed facelift for that. It should provide a much needed facelift for that part.
What's the FEMA allotment for that?
You haven't read it yet?
No.
This is task order. I can tell you offline.
So
I shouldn't, because we haven't.
Is it going to be,
it,
going to be actual expense?
No, I mean, it's going to be covered for the part that David's going to design is going to be covered, basically. I mean, he's going to design to do what FEMA has given us in terms of the scope.
There's a few things we may change in there that, like FEMA wasn't going to replace the handicap spots, I don't believe. Some things like that from the things that we may be bringing back to you for some additional changes that they didn't cover.
This has the same exclusions on it.
Yes, sir. We want to make sure we do everything in
So
accordance.
who's going to do those? Who's going to do the stormwater analysis?
Well, we're going back in exactly as it was, so we'll be, I mean, as long as we don't exceed the impervious area, we can get a permanent determination, but there won't be a need for any type of.
What about, we are putting it back. And the reason I'm saying this, I mean, the last 3 years, when you deal with FEMA, and there's boxes to check, and we don't check them, that leaves us vulnerable for the obligation.
Qualified, yes, sir.
So, if FEMA money is involved, that is a requirement. Whether we want to snub our nose at it or not, it's part of the deal. So who's going to do that?
Well, it'll probably be another AC disaster, Ryan, for permit determination, or if permits are required.
We haven't been given any direction to do that. So
All I'm saying is, if that's part of the FEMA project requirement,
Yes.
somebody has got to check those boxes.
Yes, sir.
Yep, absolutely.
And if they're going to exclude it, then somebody's got to pick that up.
Yes, sir. We'll make sure that that's happening. But they would still oversight, but I will talk with Ryan and staff about permitting. So far, there wasn't a need for it.
Is the expectation that permits, wetland permits won't be needed, but there is some degree of stormwater analysis that needs to be done? Just
There'll be a
to-
permit determination letter we'll send in and basically say, look, this is the work we're gonna do. You know, do we need to go with a stormwater permit? And typically with work like this, they'll come back and say, no, it doesn't qualify. So, and we'll just put that in the file and check the box.
And if they respond back that it is required,
Then, yeah,
then
we'll have to.
task order or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah, we'll have to update.
Okay? All right, so Doug, that's got to be followed up. That's got to, you just got to understand thing. Okay. Resolution 2158, is there a motion to read?
I make a motion to read resolution 2158.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any opposition? Ms. Campbell, please read.
Resolution 21-58, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving a task order with Dewberry Engineers Incorporated for professional services to repair under the Palms Park restroom building, parking lot, and walking path, including design of park improvements in the amount of $32,326.
Thank you. Is there a motion to adopt?
Make a motion we adopt resolution 2158.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Pollock,
Yes.
Ms. Call,
Yes.
Mr. Keith.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Moving to our regular agenda, we have a replat request at 110 40th Street, South 40th Street. This has been to us before in a different form, but actually just to follow up to the earlier request. Is there anything, Doug, you need to add
Gina, do you need to add anything related to the replat?
before we start the public hearing?
No, this is the one that was here a couple months ago for rezoning into the townhome district. This was the plan all along, but he's got a survey and everything in now, so just replat request.
All right, we'll open the public hearing for the request at 110 South 40th Street. Is anyone here to speak or cares to speak?
Joe Lindsay, I own the property, but I have nothing further to add.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right, we'll close the public hearing, then move to the table. Is there discussion from the table? If not, we'll entertain a motion. Or question?
I noticed they mentioned in here it's in Gulf County instead of Bay County. Who drew these up?
That sounds like a problem.
Actually, it's on the graphic scale.
I missed that. Is that a problem?
Is it on the
It
survey?
says Gulf County on the,
Oh, it does in the description of the
Yes.
point of comments. I do see that.
Is that a problem? What do they do?
Well, I mean, I think it's.
I think it's just,
That's also
It's not, I don't think it's a problem, other than that you would want whoever did this for you, to know where the property is.
Okay.
But as far as what, for me, it's not anyway, in terms of what you're asking.
Okay, yes, I see. Thank you very much for catching that.
I didn't know if you knew that, it was just like,
I missed it.
Okay.
That's very thorough, sure.
Okay.
P and Z did approve this on November 1st. At a regular meeting.
Just kind of to summarize or remind what this is, it was formerly 4 units. This would be a replat to result in 3 units. And basically that's it.
Okay.
If there are no, you ready for?
I'm ready for.
Okay, if there's no questions, I make a motion that we read the replat request. We need to read it?
No, you need to add a motion.
We just,
approve.
I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
We have a motion and second for approval. Is there any further questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollak?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Number 2 is ordinance 776. First reading, denied by P&Z. Who's handling this?
I'm happy to introduce it unless Doug, you want to say it first.
Please go.
This is a follow-up to the resolution that the City Council adopted in September about allowing some obstructions to stay in the right-of-way until the right-of-way is limited by the city or a utility company. At the time when that resolution passed, the thought all along was to follow up with the ordinance to do something about the code to eliminate any difference between that resolution and the land development code. The rules in this ordinance are similar to what was in the resolution, but there are some additions to try to address some of the questions and concerns that we had previously about liability. I also included a memo with this ordinance laying out some of the research and findings that we had. In general, I'll go through what has been added to help address liability, and then I'll just talk about liability a little bit as well, kind of summarize that memo. I think it was Mr. Key, last time we talked about this, asked about requiring an indemnification agreement for the property owner to hold harmless so that at the very least the property wouldn't blame the city, the property owner wouldn't blame the city, and then the property owner might be the first line of money to go after in the event of an accident. So we've added that requirement. It would be a simple standard agreement the property owner would sign in order to be able to keep their obstruction where it is. And then the second important thing is toward the end of all the underlined bolded text. There's a new rule that if the city administrator or the police department determines something that's definitely dangerous, there's still an opportunity to remove it. I don't think that's something that would be happening on day one with any of the current obstructions, but if there are automobile accidents, if there are problems, if there's real life examples of issues, we've created some flexibility in there rather than only waiting until it's needed for utilities or for city public works purposes. And so in general, that's how the ordinance is set up. Otherwise, it's similar to the resolution that was adopted. And just to speak in general to liability, since there were so many questions about it, the answer is similar to before, but was able to really shore up the details on that and confirm it with all the research. The city very likely would face some liability if there were accidents with these obstructions. It would depend on the particular item, why it's there, how big it is, how hard is it to see, where is it located, how close to the road is it? Is it something that should have been avoided, or is it something that was maybe expected to be hit based on the circumstances? There's no way to say that the city would incur liability for every obstruction allowed to be there. And I think it's fair to say that the city would have liability at least for some. On top of that, if there's a lawsuit where a motorist or a pedestrian is filing a suit because of an accident or injury, they're almost inevitably going to name the city as a defendant. So even if the city says they've done nothing wrong and the judge agrees, there's still that step to go through. We did look at some theories that we were hoping that might just shield the city from liability altogether, and they don't look like they're going to be affected in court. So it's just it's an evaluation you have to make. Is this increased risk worth it based on the circumstances and situations of the city? And you have that role. You can evaluate that and make that decision. But today, this is just a first read. It really doesn't need to be further conversation unless you prefer to have further conversation.
Just to follow up on that from administration side, we did speak with the insurance company. I actually had the insurance company agent come by and view some of the items that we were talking about, just so that they were aware and they had a clear understanding of what we wanted to do, and the breadth of the council, wanted to do. And although they didn't agree with them, that they were really, really good ideas, they said that it was leaving it in the hands of the council to make a decision, and they weren't going to influence your vote either way. They would deal with them on a case-by-case basis as something did happen. So that was about the middle of the road as they could get. So it just goes along with everything that you guys discussed before, and that's why the language was added in, as Nick was speaking, to give us some leeway down the road if something happens for these properties.
Yeah, for example, if there's a bad auto accident with serious injuries, we certainly wouldn't want following that accident to say, well, that doesn't matter, that problem item is going to stay in place. So we have some flexibility there under the current law.
So the homeowner's going to hold the city harmless?
Yeah, holding harmless would mean that the homeowner would look for the city to cover any damages, and the indemnification aspect would be when, let's say, the automobile driver sues for $200,000. Well, the homeowner the idea is to cover the city's share of that, assuming the homeowner can. It helps financially. It's not a perfectly good guarantee, though, that the city would never have a liability, because the plaintiff itself would collect against anybody they could, and then we've got us to enforce those rights against the homeowner to get help. We also have insurance, and the city's sovereign immunity, which is a statutory cap on how much the city can be liable for damages, is in general $300,000. You're not talking about infinite, unlimited liability, but it's there. It's real money.
Well, why don't we, if the homeowners want to put stuff on the right of way, why don't we make them list the city as an also insured on their policy? I had to do that as a fishing guide in the Everglades from the federal government. So the federal government said, if you want to fish in the Everglades, then you got to put me on your insurance policy. And I had to do that before I could get a license to fish the Everglades. So if they want to put stuff in the right of way, which they should be doing in the first place, why don't they list us as an also insured on their insurances?
We could have that requirement. It's a good suggestion. I would not be 100% confident that every insurance policy is definitely going to have coverage for these items, but it's still a good suggestion.
Well, I mean, it's like talking to our insurance company, and they're non-committal.
Right.
Well, I guarantee you, if there's a big lawsuit, they'll be committal. They'll go, well, no, we don't insure that kind of stuff. You should have never put it in the right of way. I mean, I don't know. Why don't we can we just, instead of redoing the ordinance and all this junk, can we just, not like we said before, put it in the hands of the city administrator? Surely he's got enough, or got the capability of making a rational decision, since it's clear that the city council can't.
You could, although you still have an adopted resolution that provides even more broad allowance than what's in this ordinance. So he would either need to be given direction to enforce that resolution, which is basically allow him to stay, or you would need to rescind or modify that resolution.
I'm still in disbelief that we passed something that just because it looks good in the right of way. And what's next? And how are we going to police this? How are we going to know who's? I mean, how do we know who's here? The
policing aspect has gotten easier with this version of the rule, because it's the September 14th date that it had to be in place prior to then, but in addition to that, the property owners have to come forward soon and sign the whole harmless indemnification agreement. And if they haven't done that, then this rule doesn't benefit them. They don't get the benefit of this. The city could remove their item or anytime. So that paperwork step will create a good record.
So when that paperwork step's got to be done by when?
There's not a set deadline here, but the paperwork really is dependent on the property owner. So if they don't do it, then at some point, if the city's scheduled, the city can go remove the items. I think is what will happen.
It does add more work strain on the one-man show code officer that we have. So, the tracking, the enforcing, the registering, we're just trying to, I mentioned that in the beginning. It's more work for us to keep up with, but it does lay it out here where we have the option to keep track of it with the notice of our matter.
I don't know, it's so far beyond rational for me, I'm having a hard time even figuring out how to argue against something like such. So, whatever.
Anybody else? I thought about this, and I've got several comments. First, I struggle with that if we're going to require a property owner to give us a hold harmless agreement, does not tell us that there's something wrong? Is that not just an obvious that we're concerned as our city that we're going to go to the point and say, hey, if you want to put this here, you got to give us a hold harmless agreement? That to me is a very obvious. And then I can't help but think what we're doing is giving credibility to those that took the liberty to put things in the right way. We're not protecting the people that knew the difference and didn't do it. We're saying to those that did do it, and I'll give you an example of that. In Georgia, there's a nice property that has pilings and rope, and they're on his property line. And on my walk, he says to me, hey, I see y'all are fooling with the property, are still unsure about the right of way. And I said, yeah, I noticed yours is on your property line. And his quote was, well, I knew the difference. It's not my property. Why would I think I could put it out there? And my point in saying that is that if we're going to put a deadline, well, why don't we give the people that did the right thing, why don't we give them a chance to put their stuff out there? Why are we going to say just the people that did it wrong are going to get the council's approval to keep their stuff there?
Yeah, let's give it 6 months.
I mean, so I struggle with, because the people that did do it right get the benefit of the ordinance, and the people that did it right, we're stuck.
One other point that's sort of similar to what you're saying. I think we're beyond trying to design new rules, but this whole idea of where might there be liability or not liability, it ties in well with how much should that person have known there was a problem. If they placed something 5 inches from the asphalt, there's a lot more liability. It's more obvious that there was an issue. If it's 5 feet away, it's still right away. Well, there's less chance of liability. There's a greater chance that they didn't know they did anything wrong. So that's a consideration.
But this doesn't address that. This just says if it's in the right of way, you're entitled to keep it there.
Correct.
And I can't. I guess my position, as simple as it sounds, the oath that I took was to defend and protect the city, which we all did that. When this conversation came up, we had our attorney who wrote a resolution, and he said, I don't recommend you taking action on it. That should be an alarm. And then you have two administrators, one an outgoing at the time, an incoming at the time, sitting at the table, who both said they don't think that's a good thing for the city. You have a P&Z board that voted 4-0 that it's not a good thing. And we discredit the LDR when we do something like this, a 30-year-old document that has served the city well with its rules and its codes and its regulations, and we want to find some reason to allow obstructions in the right-of-way for cosmetic improvement reasons, for mud holes, for keep the grass looking better. God forbid somebody would need to park on it. And we call those reasons that we want to change the LDR, and I just think it's a discredit to the document to say, instead of enforcing it, we're going to make those that put stuff out there, it's okay to do it. So I'm disappointed with that. And I don't support that in any way, because it is obvious that there are certain extreme obstructions that are dangerous. I just don't understand how you don't see that. Okay.
Yeah. If you're trying to look for a rational excuse, there is none. The right-of-way is designed for the purpose of controlling it and not allowing the homeowner. It's not the homeowners. It is not the homeowners. And it's not rational to let the homeowner put whatever he wants out there, or hurt it, or whatever, just because it looks good. The ones that own the property look good. They actually look legal and good. And I can't believe it. I just want to make sure does my name go on this? I mean, I'd like my name to be highlighted in large Darrell Key, and didn't like doing this. You know, I'm just I'm disappointed.
All right. This is for a first reading. We'll have. Is there any comments? Anybody to say? Audience members.
Michelle Miller. I think that when you have property, whether it's my property, I'm going to put on what I want to put on it, but when it's the city's property, it needs to be under y'all's regulations and not have my personal stuff on it. So I agree that this is not good for our city.
Thank you.
Anybody else before we move on? Okay. Chair will entertain further discussion or motion.
Make a motion to read ordinance 776 by title only.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any opposition? Please read it. I object to reading.
I object to reading it.
But read it.
Ordinance 776. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending section 3.05.03 of the Land Development Code to allow certain obstructions to remain temporarily in city right-of-way, providing for codification, repealing Resolution 21-42, and ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Can I ask something else? Or is it too late?
It's too late.
Too late.
It's too late. We have read it. It's the first reading, and it will be available. It will be on our. Second reading will be
2 meetings from now.
2 meetings from now. Yes.
We haven't scheduled a notice.
Then can I discuss it?
Oh yeah.
again?
I mean, you can say, but as far as anything to change.
I mean, it says temporary. How long is temporary?
I've had that question. Maybe I should delete that word. So the title is just a summary. When you read the body of the ordinance, though, it's clear that it would be removed at the time that the utility company or the city needs to use that area of the right of way. But there's not a 2-year or 5-year or 10-year time period like that. It's just the idea that. it's not
Okay, so
allowed to
if we remove it, do they get to put it back?
No, the rule is if that item is removed, say for the water line or the sidewalk, no, it stays off, it doesn't come back.
Okay, y'all got the orders on the calendar for the second meeting? Okay, thanks. All right, well, number 3. This one is a purchasing policy. Purchasing policy change. Is there, Doug, why don't you go over this for us?
I'll start and then I'll get some clarification from Nick. So this ordinance, it came up because of when our audits were going through and Debbie was working with the auditors, there needed to be some clear defined rules. It seemed it had moved like a moving target on some of the levels of purchasing and some of the authority levels that were established. So I worked with Nick, the attorney, to try to get some information from some surrounding agencies like the city of Port St. Joe and Panama City, and I believe we looked at Bay County and Callaway and a few others. He could go into it as well to try to what their levels for bidding were and formal bids. The biggest one to discuss was the fact of the formal bidding process and what level dollar figure would require to trigger the formal bid process that costs us money and time. That's going to be established that the formal bid process will now be at $25,000. So therefore, if it's a project that costs more than that, we would have to do the formal bid process and put it out for public. It's currently it's $8,000 now, and if you've tried to do any projects around your house or work or business, $8,000 doesn't go any very far with some of the things that you guys are doing around here, and we just need to increase that level in an effort to save time, not only time but money in the cost process of bidding some of these items out, whether Dewberry does it or it's the cost of a credit card machine or the cost of, the biggest thing, things that I'm running into purchasing levels are utility meters. So when we purchase a utility meter, and Glenn is here to get a clarification, but some of the 2-inch ones are, to get 6 of them, it costs $2,800. And my purchasing level is currently at $3,000. So this would be a budget item that we're passing through to the homeowner that I've got to split up. If I need, right now I need 8 of those, and then I need 12 more of the ones, the smaller 1-inch ones. And that takes me far over the $3,000 figure. So I have to basically illegally purchase because I'm splitting it up. And we don't need to be operating like that for a simple process that's included in our budget that we're passing along. So the next level down would be anything between, right now it's $3,000 that I'm allowed to purchase. I'm asking for up to 10 that I'm allowed to do for a regularly budgeted item. So if it's something out of the ordinary, like a vehicle or something that's not budgeted within our current budget, that would still come to the council. You guys would have oversight. You still sign 2 signatures on every check, so you're going to see everything that comes through. Anyway, it just allows us to speed up our processing level. So our written quotes would be anything between, Nick, is it $8,000 and $25,000 would be a written quote. We take a verbal quote between $3,000 and $8,000.
That's correct.
And a written quote. So I would call 3 people and get 3 different vendors to give me the quote on doing the process that I give them a scope for, and I would get a written quote. And then we would pick usually the lowest bid offer, unless it just doesn't meet our needs. But that's exactly what I'm asking for.
So as follow-up, there's really 2 things that this rule would be doing. It's not, the first is increasing that bidding threshold, and 25,000 is below any state standards, so that's not a problem. It increases that from 8 to 25. But the second item, to me, is the attorney, is more important. The purchasing policy is not very clear about what the city administrator's spending authority level is, and we know it's $3,000 because that's how it's been for quite a while, and I think that there's other documents that speak to that. But this primary set of rules for purchasing isn't really clear what that level is, and obviously there's some threshold that's allowed for expenditures. So this adds that very clearly what the city administrator's spending authority is, and rather than just saying it's $3,000 because that's what we know it is right now, it does increase that to $10,000. I I would say that $10,000 figure and the $25,000 bidding figure, if you want to discuss those and change those, you're more than welcome to. But the important thing is to address these topics and do something. So I can go through any of the other nearby cities if you'd like, and just kind of summarize. Bay County is a lot more lenient in this. They spend a lot more money, so they're not a really good comparison. But Port St. Joe would have the same threshold for bidding, but they allow their staff to spend more without approval from their council. Callaway would have a more strict bidding threshold. They bid at $10,000, but the purchasing authority for their staff will be the same as what's provided in these changes. What else? We've got Panama City. They allow their city administrator to spend up to $25,000, so that's more than what's proposed here. But they do bidding at $15,000, so that's a little less. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but I would say that these rules will put you very much in line with what is typical of the cities around here. They're not all exactly the same thresholds for every city, though. So some of those two rules, the spending authority for staff, maybe for one city maybe higher or lower, but that same city might have a higher bidding authority. So there's some mixture, but in general, these rules are not unusual compared to the other cities around.
Okay. Thanks. All right, so we have a ordinance 777. Is there discussion, comments, motion to the first reading for a change in our purchasing policy or threshold?
I do like the idea about, I think there was two in there about the bidding. They was low and we went to go to 25,000.
That's correct. That's the change.
I'm for I know we way behind there on our giving him the authority, but two of them, you said Callaway and I think another town was, one was 15, one was 10.
Bidding requirements, looks like Panama City is, they start formal bidding at 15,000, and then Callaway starts formal bidding at 10,000. The other cities we looked at were all 25,000, and then Dade County is much higher.
That'd be the only thing that I'd say a little bit too high for me, was the $25,000 before it.
And again, it's currently at 8, and if council wants to talk about it, you're more comfortable with 15 or 20. These are not set in stone numbers, we just need guidance.
Are you suggesting one? I mean, to change?
15, yes. The 25. I'm suggesting that we went from 3 to 8, and now they want to go from 8 to 25. And then after listening to them, Nick saying the other ones, I'm suggesting, which one was 15, Nick?
That was Panama City, I believe.
And another one was 10.
Right, and then Port St. Joe is 25, and I should note too, the policy I have for Panama City are not positive as theirs.
I'm suggesting 15 then, instead of 25. Get bids instead of purchase.
So the formal bid process at 15,000, and then written quotes from under 15,000.
Would be from 8 to 15?
Yeah.
And the city administrator still has purchasing authority up to 10,000 would be left intact, right?
it's a little confusing, it's not that, but it is for me, about where we have been at 3,000.
You're going to 10. I mean, on this paperwork, we're going to 10. Correct? I mean, I'm
You got
10, I'm sorry, I'm one, but yes.
We're going to 10. Formal bids under your proposal will be at 15.
Yeah.
So anything from 10 to 15, you could get 3 bids, 3 call-in quotes.
So the current rule, which we didn't change, is verbal quotes on items up to 8,000. But then we would get written quotes between 8,000 and 15,000 under this version.
Can we get a summary of what it was, what we're proposing, just a brief?
You want me to go over it?
Yes,
Sure.
give us just a brief.
All right. The current purchasing authority, which means something could happen through staff without it ever coming to the commission, the council for a discussion and a vote, currently is $3,000. The proposal is to change that to $10,000. That doesn't waive any of the procedures and processes, it just means it doesn't come to you for a vote.
Right.
The bidding rule currently is anything over $8,000 goes through formal bidding, advertising and everything formal and written. The proposal originally was to go to 25,000. Gary's discussing doing 15,000 instead. And then for the levels under that level, there's written quotes and verbal quotes that are a lot easier than formal bidding.
And those kind of items would be what kind of items?
So let's say city needs to buy a $2,500 piece of a tool for public works. That would fall in the verbal quote range, so basically a price shop. Make sure you don't just buy the first one you see. But instead, let's say there's a $12,000 purchase that needs to be done for gravel. The city would need 3 written prices to put in its file on that. And under that example, that would still come to you for approval because it's above $10,000. But let's say it was $9,000 gravel. You'd never see that one. It would just be 3 written quotes that the city collected, and Doug would make that purchase.
So a $25,000 purchase would be
advertising in the newspaper, waiting.
So he has the authority to spend 25, but he's still got to advertise. What's the deal?
No, the spending authority is at most we've looked at is 10,000. So it's 2 issues really. It's who can finalize the purchase and what kind of bidding process needs to happen. So who can finalize the purchase? City administrator, currently 3,000 or less. Proposal is to go to 10,000. But that's separate from how the process works to get the prices and do the purchase. So the current rule is you need to do advertised formal bidding for anything over 8,000, and we're looking at increasing that because really you approved some task orders today for Dewberry where they primarily were doing design, but then there's a $5,000 line item to handle the bidding of the contractor. You won't always see a $5,000 cost to go buy something simple, but there's certainly, it's an example, and there's a cost involved, it takes time. So on something that's in $10,000, $12,000 range, it's hard to even get companies necessarily to participate in bidding because they're so busy and they're so short staffed. They've got plenty of other work to do that they see as simpler to.
Like the credit card machine, we put it out for bid, nobody bid on it at all. It just drug the process out when we had the person that would have done it. Another example is a budgeted item for $6,500 worth of dredging hose that had to come to the council for a resolution to purchase it. And that's a budgeted item that we had to have, but we had to put it off because we needed to bring it to council. So that would avoid seeing some of those things on the agenda. You would still sign checks for them. If I had an outlandish for something we had to get for an emergency, I would definitely continue to be transparent with the council, give you updates. It's not my money, it's the city's money.
Another question? All right, the proposal from Jerry is to change the 25, which is in the quotes required down there, from 25 to 15. Is there any, I mean, are there other comments about that or suggestions in any of the other areas? I think that can be changed and still have the first reading.
I agree.
I go 15.
You good with 15?
I am well.
You were, okay. All right, well then, maybe make that one change and we'll just still call for the first reading with that one amendment. And is there a motion to read?
I make a motion to read order 777.
Second.
A title only.
With that one, with that
With the
one,
one from.
that one, yeah, one correction.
One correction.
One change. Okay.
25.
Ms. Tammy, please read.
Ordinance 777. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the city's purchasing procedures, increasing the threshold for formal bidding, clarifying and increasing the city administrator's spending authority, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Thank you. We'll add that to our second reading, just like we did there.
Yeah, that should be 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to number 4 is a new position. Doug, I think appropriate for you to tell us what we got going here.
Yes, sir. So throughout my brief tenure, I've been noticing some needs that the residents as well as the city employees need to help streamline some of the things that happen for day-to-day business within City Hall. We have currently a person in City Hall who does billing, is the billing assistant, as well as the administrative assistant for the city clerk and the city administrator and the fire chief. So some of the duties that keep getting added to that person now, she's the IT administrator, she's also the website designer, she's writing all the memos, it just keeps piling up, and she's doing a great job. I'm not knocking it at all. We do run into times where we don't have somebody in the office that can take a credit card billing, and customer service is lacking, when people come in and want to pay their bill, it happens to be somebody's lunchtime or somebody takes a vacation. So we're working on cross-training throughout the office. But in addition to that, the code enforcement has continued to, it's been 3 years since the storm, so we've continued to, kind of work along with people and help them get their things going, and we're still doing that. But now the enforcement side of it is requiring more letters that have to go out, administrative work that has to go out. And with this additional recommendation of a position that I'll go into, it would be an administrative clerk for code enforcement and utility billing. So this person would work in the office where the utility administrator works with Sherry and take daily billing payments. It does allow for us to have a segregation of duties, so we have somebody that takes the billing and somebody that audits it, so it helps us with our some of the auditor requirements that we have. So this position, I'm proposing at a minimum level of $15 an hour to get somebody that could possibly do this type of work at this level. This would be a full-time employee. This position was not budgeted in the fiscal year budget that we're actually in right now. However, it could have been, but it was not brought forward. So at that time, I'm asking for an additional position to fill some of these needs that I've justified on the memo that's attached in your agenda. The total cost for this position would be approximately $58,000, including the full-time benefits. So that's the maximum amount that it could cost for a whole year. If the employee had full coverage benefits for insurance, like if they had a spouse and 2 children, or it would have maximum coverage allowable. So we always budgeted for the most and see what happens just in case. But this budget position would probably not be hired until sometime in December, maybe January, possibly January after the first of the year. So you're looking at 9 months worth of that version, which is around $40,000 for the total cost. And it would allow additional coverage and allow your city clerk to have a backup, dedicated backup. Should she need to take a vacation, it's somebody that helps with correspondence with us and FEMA and scanning of items to some of our employees that are remote, like finance, as well as some of the FEMA consultants. So it does add a level of expertise to our organization. So it is my recommendation, and I went over those numbers with Debbie, who is our financial accountant. She has given me these numbers, and the breakdown is such where it's funded out of water, sewer, half of it out of the general fund, and then some out of sanitation. So as she will be working with some code enforcement, that does help with the coverage and the cost in that category. So I make a motion for approval. I appreciate your support. If you have any questions on that.
Will we do a budget amendment later, or there's actually a cost incurred?
Yes, sir. And the funding is in our budget. It's not in personnel services. We would have to make a budget amendment for that down the road once it's established of what the final number would be. Yes, sir.
Anybody got any?
I got one, just comments on this major, the duties and responsibilities. That just about says everybody over in the office. I mean, this person that you, Mary, yeah, this lady, this person could just about, you want to hire, can fill in and help every one of these agencies. That's what you.
That's what I'm proposing, is cross-training. Yes, sir. Duplication of services so that if somebody's out, we really are short.
I like that. You go, but sometimes lunch and, everybody's at lunch and then Kathy's up there.
Yes, sir.
Running the front outside.
I mentioned this to Doug before the meeting. I also talked to Debbie because I had concerns about how this would be paid for. And I think the timing, unfortunately, Doug wasn't here for the budget. He wasn't here. He had no input, but that's just the way things fell out. But we just finished our budget. We're 5 weeks into the new budget. We spent 3 workshops, 2 meetings, and we went over, we lowered the millage rate, and now we want to do a $58,000 budget amendment. And I don't disagree of the need, but I'm not big on doing a budget amendment 5 weeks into a new budget, and yet we still do not have in front of us a picture of our financial condition. We talked about it for 3 years. We're much closer. And for me, Doug, I don't disagree with the need. I would like to see us do this, bring this back at midterm of the budget, and let's see where we stand. These enterprise funds that are supporting this job are based on fee schedule. Fee schedule's been set. And I mean, if y'all recall, everything about our budget was tight. On purpose, it should be. And we all recognize that there was some indecision about what were the actual numbers. And I just think I would be more comfortable supporting this if we looked at it in April, when we had close to 6 months of the current budget behind us, and Debbie could give us a better look at where we stack up. But to come right in and say we need a $58,000 person 5 weeks after the budget was set is something that I'm concerned with. That I don't think that's a good. I don't think that's just being premature with understanding where our numbers lie.
Is Debbie still on the phone? Or is she gone?
No, she's gone. But those numbers came from her.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that sheet. And when I talked to her about that, she said, well, that was how it would be paid. She didn't relay to me or to Doug that took what was already tight. And when you have to do a budget amendment, just that's saying that you're amending your budget and that you're going to just find somewhere down the road, you're going to find a way to pay for that. That's really what it means. And when we don't have any documentation, I just think that, but anyway, that's, I won't say, that's about that.
I could add that, there's been additional funding that's come in to date for some insurance claims as well as some ARPA money, which is to do with infrastructure, which was what utilities is responsible for. There's going to be a lot more upkeep in some of that as customers come online. The more meters that we continue to put out, the level of service continues to climb, and in an effort to continue the great customer service that the City of Mexico Beach has provided, that's my recommendation.
Can we table this till next time so we can ask? I always like asking Debbie when we do something that affects the budget. I like to hear her tone of voice, and I like to hear her say. Can we not table this till next meeting so that we can ask her about it? Would that be all right with you, Doug?
Whatever you'd like to do, sir. It is the first reading. There's a second reading to come down the road.
This is just a...
No, this is kind of reading.
I'm sorry.
This is
a reading.
And those other two, that's right. Maybe we can get her back on the phone, or we can table it, whatever you prefer, yes, sir.
I mean, if we can get her back on the phone right now and get it handled, that's perfect with me.
Would you like me to do that, Mayor?
Is that the feel of the council? Y'all want to talk to Debbie about it? Or let's just wait and see. It may be that everybody else thinks it's okay to do it. I don't know. Let's just hold off. Not that we. Is there a consensus to want more questions, or is there a consensus that we're okay with it, or is there?
Okay, rent along with what we got now. Everything falls, St. Julie will be this and that, and everything else too.
Yeah, she would also be the backup. She's going to continue to be backup person for the new person and Sherry whenever they would leave, which allows that additional coverage. Yes, sir. She's there in the meantime to continue. But as Tommy says, the cart's full. Guys, sometimes you got to worry about the mule. So that's what we're proposing.
So I would like to talk to Debbie.
We can do that. I want to find out if there's others that have, before we just get on the phone, are there others that have financial questions about the job? If there is no one, then Darryl, we're going to let you talk to her. If we can get.
Or we can table it to next meeting.
I would prefer to table it personally, and then go in.
I got a few questions that I would like to check in, and I didn't.
You go with table?
That's fine.
Then you got a number.
What you want to do?
There a motion to table?
I make a motion that we table it.
Then we have a motion to table.
Until next meeting.
I say.
We have a motion and a second. The opposition table?
I got questions
Sure.
later.
Oh,
I'll just wait.
all right, so we'll table it next week, put it on next agenda. Project list, yeah, sorry. Lost track. Okay,
Yes, sir. The project list.
just the highlights of this one, please.
Yes, sir. Real quick. The culvert is on 15th Street. Culvert is near completion. They're working on the guardrails now and cleaning up some of the grass and drain along the side of the bank. So that's almost done. Hopefully it'll be off by our next meeting. 15th Street First Pier, as we discussed, 800 megahertz radio tower, just as an FYI. This is under construction, active on the acreage back behind City Hall, where eventually the municipal complex can go. They've actually graded the road for us, so you can get back there if you'd like to see it. Make sure you have hard hats and steel toe boots if they're under construction, but if some of the council wants to see that, I'd be glad to show you around back there. But they are moving it very quickly. That is paid for by the county. Additional boat ramp parking. I've received designs by Dewberry, but they're not cast out at this time. We're waiting on some possible funding, which would happen after probably February, for grants to go for that. Excuse me, not the ramp parking. That's the boat ramp. Excuse me. Additional boat ramp parking. I have designed for drawn out for what we could do to make some changes to that. We're just trying to kind of get a handle on actually that new property that we have by cutting some of the grass back and kind of figuring out what we're going to do there. Nothing's moving forward yet at this time. Canal dredging, we spoke about that already today. The citywide stormwater report, we talked about that as well today. The bid opening is on the 10th. The citywide street paving, I believe Piggott is back today. They told me they had a change in their schedule. They're back on the south side of 98, try to finish up on that side, to continue the project moving forward. DOT right away, Tommy spoke about that earlier. the Highway 98 landscaping, our two-year window, started on October 17, 2021. So we have 2 years to make sure that that grows and stays nice and well kept, but Tommy is working with the vendor. The jetty, we talked a little bit about that earlier today. Ryan went over that. The manhole covers, we actually had Dewberry bid that out. So the bid and ads are going out to get people to replace those with a seal that'll go on those manhole covers to make them watertight. The marina, the boat ramp pavilions, fish cleaning stations, and the repairs, all 3 underway. We did get a nice project list and timeline for things for them to continue to keep moving forward with their project. Under the Palms Park, we talked about Parker Park. Some of the newest items, I'm working with Dewberry on some possible, the sketches that we have that was decided several years ago. We were able to move forward with the demolition of the bathroom that was there that's fallen apart. It's not very safe. We're going to have that removed and start cleaning up that park, mowing around the outside so we can kind of take back what was ours and make it start looking nice so we can have some events there. The pier, BDI, is working on permits and final designs. They presented recently at our meeting. Police Fire Municipal Complex, we spoke about that earlier today. Street lights are getting ready to get underway. Duke Howard is working with Tommy on a schedule for that. Sunset Park, we discussed the shortcomings of the DEP permit. Underwater debris removal, we're also going to hold off on some grant funding that we're working on moving forward. Just as an update, I spoke with Glenny's from the Gulf gas station, and they're starting to put some pipes and turn in some dirt. They're looking for the week of Thanksgiving, so they could actually see some things going forward. They're appreciative. Their contractors did come in with some much higher bids than they had before for the building, so they're appreciative of what the city did to continue that project moving forward for them. But we should see some action there shortly.
I have a question about the gas station since you brought it up. Can anyone tell me why it appears that 80% of the land that was cleared for the gas station appears to be inside the city limits? Even the owner of the property didn't know why it looked that way. Does anybody know? If you're standing,
how could it appear to be inside the city?
If you're standing at the city limits sign,
and
you look across, it's all inside what appears to be the city limits.
Maybe the sign's in the wrong place.
That's what I heard.
I mean, I don't know that the sign was, put in the right place, but that property definitely is not inside the city limits.
Okay. Yeah.
Not yet.
Soon.
Doug, do you have any other?
I do have some comments about some decisions that the council needs to look at.
Go ahead, and then we'll come back to Nick. As far as your report.
No, for my report, I have nothing else on the project list. On my report, I did want to discuss about the closing for the Veterans Day. We discussed, remind residents that we're closed on Veterans Day, and thank you for all that you do for the staff for that. I wanted to talk about upcoming Thanksgiving week council meeting, as well as the Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, the council meeting dates for those two. If you're ready for those, I can give you the dates.
Go ahead.
So the 23rd, November 23rd is the council meeting, which is our next scheduled meeting. It's the Tuesday prior to Thanksgiving on Thursday. The city will be closed on Thursday and Friday. If the council is available, staff's available, have a meeting on that day. It's just whatever you'd like to do. I just like to hammer it down for it. Would you like to move it?
We've always looked at that to see if there was enough people going to be in town to meet. In years past, that's the way we've done the holiday schedule.
Which is for advertising and things like that.
I don't know what we have. We could cancel the meeting. It's not like we have to have it. Is everybody planning to be here?
I'm leaving the meeting.
I'll be here.
So we're good on that date. All right, so regular scheduled. The council meeting is the second meeting in December for the second meeting in December, is on December the 28th, which is between Christmas and New Year's. The city would be closed on Thursday, Friday prior to that date. But the 28th is a Tuesday, it's before New Year's. It seems to be a valid date. It just depends on if the council is in town. So I just would like to be able to advertise those things accordingly.
Yeah, traditionally, we have canceled that meeting. Mainly because there were a lot of unknowns and a lot of people scheduled things between New Year's and Christmas, or Christmas and New Year's. But if there is no reason, if everybody wants to keep it, then we can keep it.
I will probably be out of town that time.
I don't know yet, I ain't been told.
Well, why don't we,
I would like to,
we'll let you know.
I'd like to cancel both of them because, I mean, you don't get but so many holidays. I'd like to be able to go hunt or deer or eat Thanksgiving dressing or whatever, personally.
So if you were to move the Thanksgiving meeting, if we were back to that one, it could be the 30th, which would be the following Tuesday after Thanksgiving weekend.
That would be better with me.
Same thing for the 28th. If you went prior to that one, because the first meeting's on the second, which is on the 14th, it would be pretty close. And then if you got into January, on January 4th, the next meeting would be on the 11th. So maybe.
I'd say do it the 11th. I'd say let's keep it like it is, but
I like keeping it like it is. If who can, on the November 2nd, November meeting, and then after that, the one between Christmas and Thanksgiving, I think we'll all cancel it.
I do too.
So we keep the 23rd. We keep the meeting on the 23rd for
And the first December meeting
would be intact,
and then we won't be at the end of the first of the year.
Cancel the one on 12/28 altogether.
Is that good with everybody? Not with you, but everybody else is gonna be here. You're gonna have to think about it, duck hunting or whatever.
I'm getting used to it, so it's all right.
All right, so I will. That's what you want to do.
No, that's what I'm proposing.
I propose.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so I will adjust the schedule for the clerk.
All right, is that everything for you?
Yes, sir. That's all I have.
Nick, you got anything?
Yes, since we were talking about trying to figure out if there's funding available for that position, I'll comment on a couple items that were probably not budgeted revenues. The city did receive its check for those BP funds you approved. It was $18,000 and change. I doubt that was budgeted, so that's probably new money. And I still don't have all the information and paperwork for the closeout of the property insurance claim. I'm hoping we'll have that next meeting. I've been pressing the public adjuster on that. I don't expect that money is budgeted either, and that'll be $100,000 new money.
You know, you bring this up, and I feel obligated to say, if we had a financial report in front of us, but when we start working off of new money, quote, that's not, I do not approve of that in any way. This city has many unknown debts yet to come. We do not know what they are. So I don't put stock in that we got a check in that says it's, quote, new money and unbudgeted. We have a lot of unbudgeted new money, but until we see it, we're talking on the phone about it, but we do not have a good budget picture of this city. And I don't think, for me, that calling money that comes in new money, it's new money, but it doesn't mean that there's not a need for it somewhere else. Until we know it. We need to know. Like driving in the dark. Yeah, you may get where you're going, you don't know what you may hit.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. My point was I doubt that there's an expense budgeted to offset.
I understand, but your support of them, we'll leave it. You got anything else? Okay. Council, Bob, you got anything? Gary?
One.
Go ahead.
Where's Gina?
Not yet.
I won't miss her.
I understand. I understand. Well, she said she was vote over, she was just over
I
all
heard
this.
that. Let's don't push that issue.
I'm staying between her and the door.
Please, Gary, you got anything?
Thank you so much. You've been my rock, like I've said before. You have been invaluable to so many decisions, and we may call you if that other fellow don't work out.
You smoke cigarettes? What's his name?
Jay.
Jay, you smoke cigarettes?
No, sir.
I don't either.
Sharon, you got anything?
I smoke cigarettes.
to smoke cigarettes, and neither one of us smoked.
You got anything, or you just did it, did you? Is there a motion for adjournment? Thank everyone for coming.